Righto, gamers. Welcome. Sunday morning. It's been a heavy week for me. It's been a heavy period, really. I was in a play. I act on stage sometimes. And this thing was about, just like last year, about the Liberation Day, Second World War, and all about the town that I live in. There's a lot to tell and a lot to research. So here's a script, by the way. And it's been like it's the same pencil that just fell as in my last video. I'm gonna leave it there again. I pick it up in between recordings and then I drop it on the floor every time. So this is the script. It's not really thick, but we took like a couple of months rehearsing and refining, and I think even before the first, before the premiere, we made changes, or we found out, this is the best way to do it, and all that. The subject matter in itself is pretty heavy, because it's mainly about people dying. But it's different when people die in video games. This is about real people. And we often play for family members of those people. Which makes it all the more heavy. People are actually moved and in tears sometimes because they see us acting out situations that they hadn't thought about in years or maybe at all. So it's a heavy experience, and I've been doing that for a long time now. For a couple of months, I've been working on this, so I haven't been on YouTube as much, or with as. So I'm back, and in the meantime, I've missed questions. I've missed T-Rex Space Stations, Ben's questions, and Dave had a couple of nice ones. Nick Barry tagged me, and Grubgun asked everyone to justify the collection. Now, since that was the most recent one, and Nick's is a very short one, I'm going to answer those two, because I have no pickups, I have nothing to show, I have nothing to talk about, because I haven't done much gaming. Well, I could talk about the Oculus Rift a little bit more in Windows 10. Let's do that at the end. A little techie nerd stuff at the end for those who like the DK2, and it's a lot of people, because the thing is dirt cheap now, right? For £100, you can find one new, sealed, apparently. So it's one of those cases where I jumped the gun. I bought my DK2 just a few months too soon. Should have waited. Nick asked, or the tag was at least, the video that you regret doing. And I had a long think about that, and I think, maybe the first one I did because it was so lame or bad, but I think, no, I'm not. I think it was very courageous. Anyone who makes his first video or her first video, I think that's the hardest one to do. So, and then I thought about some others. I actually went through my videos, and I thought, well, I don't regret making any of them. And then there was this one that I remember now. So there were a couple that I thought, maybe I shouldn't have made that. There's one of the first ones where I decided to list off all the games that I had available for trade in the hopes of reaching out to people on YouTube wanting to trade, because that I thought was one of the coolest things about being on YouTube, and nobody responded to that. So do I regret making it for that reason? I don't know. But that's and another one there was this channel, and I don't know if it still exists. I'm not going to name it. But it's Johnny Johnson, and he doesn't make videos, and he made a couple of he made a small number of videos, and for some reason, and this was the sort of the magic, he has like videos that have like 50,000 views, and he has loads of subscribers. And back when I made that video, I thought, how does this work? I was really curious, how does it work? Because he made this one video where he does a review of a motherboard, right? And it's like an ultra boring video where he just lists off the features of the motherboard for the PC that he's bought. And there's the USB ports, and there's this port, and there's that port. And this thing had like 15,000 views. And I thought, well, maybe it's the subject matter. So I decided, when I bought a motherboard I decided I'm going to make a video exactly like that. I'm just going to show, put the camera on the motherboard and then just list off the features and show the board and say, well, this is the stuff that's on it. It had like just over 100 views. Still, it's now, I think 1.5 years ago that I did that, maybe 2. So it's not the subject matter. It's some magical thing that happens with videos or channels that, especially if you stop making videos, maybe that, I don't know. But that's one video that I regret making because it's the most boring video that I've ever done. But I had a reason for doing it, but that, if it had, for some odd reason, my most successful videos are the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire videos. They get, my most watched videos has over 2,000 views. For me, that's a lot, and but I don't know why. I have no idea. I think it's just because it has the word millionaire in it, and it pops up in searches. And now that it's had some views, it'll pop up in searches more often. I don't know. Anyway, so that the motherboard video. Okay, Nick. Tag. Check. Now, the video that I thought was interesting for several reasons was Grubgun asking to justify our collection. Now, he said, we all talk about how, and I bought this for that at the thrift store, so we talk a lot about how we find video games, but we don't talk about why. And he claims that we're all dirty liars because we don't tell the truth. My thought on that is that you don't continually have to express the truth. It doesn't make you a liar if I. But I get the point. There's a lot of channels that I don't know if I should continue that sentence. But I get the impression that I don't. No, he's right. He's right that we don't always say why we buy games. Now, I thought about this, but I didn't have to think very long because I know why I buy these games. And I don't always say it, but I've definitely not been... I've been forthcoming with the reason why I buy stuff. But I'll make it explicit for those who don't understand. If my collection existed just consisted just of the games that I want to play, I'd have a handful of games. Literally, I'd have Sniper Elite, I'd have Elite Dangerous, Arma games, Minecraft. That's what I actually play. I've got loads more. Metroid, and I'm looking at them now. And Galaga, and Castlevania 4. So that's not it. Not the games I played. So I sometimes I think about maybe I should just sell the whole damn thing and just own the stuff I actually play. This room would be not as packed as it is now. If my collection, if the reason for buying games for me was to own the things that I had, it would be larger. But it would not be this large because I have tons of games that I've never played that I couldn't have played when I was younger. I would have, in any case, I would have had the Commodore 64, hands down, and the video pack, because those are the things that I owned. I've bought some handheld stuff because I really wanted to own those, the things that I had when I was younger. So definitely, in any case, I would have had that. But the real reason why I've got a load of PS2 games, and I can remember what I did. I love buying things that are cheap, and I went to thrift stores and to trade shows, and I just bought almost everything that I could get my hands on. If I walked into a thrift store that had games, I'd buy almost everything that was there, because and back then it was really cheap. Yesterday I went to one of my favorite thrift stores because I was in the neighborhood, and they had a ZX Spectrum, and it had a little sticker on it, not functional, so it's just broken. €95. So that's a thrift store, right? Selling broken stuff for €95. So that's just madness. So that takes away the entire polish for me. The fun is gone to go to that place, and I won't go back because I'll just see the same overpriced shit. So the price level is very important. It needs to be cheap. It needs to be at a level where I think, man, I would have never bought this if it was in a regular price, and now it's cheap. That was the driving reason for me to buy the games, and that's why I have so many. I sold a lot as well because I needed money to buy the PS4, and it was easy. But why was it easy? Apparently, when I buy these games, I don't care so much about them once I have them. Bingo. So that's that completes the picture. And I know this is not a secret. I just like the kick of buying. I like the kick of buying the stuff when it's cheap. And when I've had this often, when something just creeps into my mind and I think I gotta have it. It's pure materialism, right? So I gotta have it. And you find it for cheap. And you get the kick of getting it, hunting it down, and the moment it arrives, you think, "Nah, got it," and it goes on a stack. You never look at it again. So it's just as simple as that. I'm addicted to buying stuff, but it has to be cheap. Otherwise, there's no kick. So the kick of buying things, and that is materialism in its purest form, I think. And it's not pretty. And it leads to nothing. It leads to possessions. And the thing is that you're going to protect these possessions as if they are important. But they're not. You could easily live without them. Imagine if you have a pet, right? Just imagine the things that your pet owns. Your pet owns nothing. He has food. He has a roof. Period. That is the evidence. Well, I don't want to equate humans to pets, but and probably human beings need a little bit more than just a rubber toy. But essentially, you don't need to own anything. Owning stuff is fun, but that's the essence. So justifying my collection, I just love buying stuff. but I don't want it to cost too much. So there you go. That's my collection justified. And it's unique that Jeremy should ask a community question. Because he doesn't do that. He certainly never answers them. So that's unique. I like that. He's even got Evo Hailer out of his den, making a video about it as well. Well, that's unique. Okay, so on to the less mundane, and the DK2. I installed Windows 10 Creators Update. I installed it before it was handed out to me by Microsoft. I doubted doing it, but I did it anyway for the sole reason that it would apparently enhance the quality or the speed at which games run on my system. So the install is easy. There was some warnings about, in the articles that I read about changing privacy settings. Right. The sound may change because I moved the mic. That if you waited for the official rollout, you would get like a list of questions about what you wanted to do with your privacy settings, and if you did the manual install, you wouldn't get those. But that's not true, because I just got a list of, do you want to share your information, blah blah blah. And did the install, and hardly any change that I saw, but I don't look for all the differences. I just wait for stuff to look different when I start my PC. Well, one thing I noticed is that my Oculus Rift stopped working. It did do nothing. It didn't even turn on. So I was in panic for a while. So I removed all the Oculus software, rebooted, reinstalled. Luckily, there's in Windows there's an easy way of going back to the last version. You can just roll back the last installation, which I thought, that's going to be the final thing that I'll do if I can't fix it. So I did those installs. I switched around some plugs. I tried everything I could, but I even installed like a legacy runtime. That didn't work. Nothing worked. So finally, I remembered. No, I was looking through the device manager list, and I noticed that there was an unrecognized device on my USB port. Which is funny, because at that time I had nothing connected to my USB ports. So I thought, that's odd. So I removed the device, rebooted, and it reappeared again. And that's when I remembered to check the driver for my USB 3 ports, which I have an AS Media USB 3 port. This is real nerd talk. And the Windows Update installs the latest driver, but that doesn't work. It's installed on my Asus motherboard. There's an AS Media USB 3 port that doesn't work with the latest drivers. So all I had to do was roll back the USB driver to the Microsoft original driver. Oculus back to working. Yay. So then I started to test it. Well, it still worked, but not as well as I was used to. So I was playing with the settings again, getting it to run a little smooth, and so that I could read all the text that I wanted to read. But it was sort of it wasn't performing as nicely as I was used to. So I had this game mode turned on. The game mode that you can select. If you play a game, you press the Windows G key and you want this to be recognized as a game. Yes. Do you want to turn on a game mode for this game? And yes. But I turn it off. I'm still on the still trying to tweak it. I installed a new NVIDIA driver, so hopefully that's it. Maybe, I don't know. It's still I'm still getting comments from people on my Oculus videos saying that they bought one because it's very affordable. As I said, for less than £100, you can get a new one, new old stock. So if you have, I think like the minimal requirement is to have the GeForce GTX 970, which is a beefy card still, you know. But that's like that's what I run, and I can run Elite with it, but with my AMD processor, a 980 would be better. A 1060 or a 1070 would be overkill, because my CPU would probably, or the motherboard would be the bottleneck. So a 980 is ideal. 970 will work. Below that, I wouldn't try. Yeah. Oh, I'm at the finish of this. I haven't played it in I think 2 weeks. I'm at the end. The whole game is about stealthy sniping. Stealthy sniping. Except for the last scene that you have to do a panic shot again, and I dislike it. So I failed the first time that I played through the end, and then I had the whole stage thing going, so I didn't come back to it. So now I have to get in, figure out how to do the end, and then I will have played it. I will be done. And that's it. I have nothing else. I'm empty. Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.